Okay, so welcome back to the fourth and final episode of this series, right? So where we left, right, we just finished working on the user interface. So in this episode, we're just gonna do the backend. So first, we're just gonna create a login screen. So we're gonna create a splash screen, a login screen. Then we're just gonna work on the uh adding, updating, and deleting everything else, right? So let's get to it. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna open our terminal, right? Then inside here, we're gonna cd into views. Then inside views, we're gonna say Python create underscore screen dot py. Then our first screen is going to be splash, right? So if you open our views folder, we should have a splash screen somewhere here. Okay, we have it here. So let's go back to our terminal, press up, then let's put auth here. Okay, so now we'll splash and auth here. Okay, so let's close our terminal. So let's navigate to the app folder, then open ini.py here. So we need to import these two screens. So let's import them at the top here. So I'm just gonna copy home here and paste it twice. So this one is going to be splash like this, and this one is going to be auth. So let me change this to splash and this to auth like this. Okay, so let's scroll downwards. Here we need to add two screens here. So this one is going to be splash like this, and this is going to be auth. So this is going to be splash screen, and this one is going to be auth screen like this. Okay, so now let's navigate to splash screen, then open splash.kv, right? So inside this splash screen.kv, right, this box layout, we need to change it to a float layout like this. Then inside this float layout, right, we need to put a logo, right? So we're just gonna keep it simple. We're gonna put a logo, then a load GIF, then a label at the bottom, right? So here I'm just gonna put a Makuni Technologies product, all rights reserved. But you can put your own statement there, right? Or you can even tweak this whole thing and make it suit your needs, right? So here I'm gonna put a box layout like this. What I'm gonna do here, yeah, let's give it a pause then since we're using a float layout, right? Okay, so here we're gonna say center X like this. So we're gonna put it at let's put it at the center horizontally. So this is going to be 0.5. Then we're gonna say center Y like this. Here let's put it at 60%, position at 60%. So this is going to be 0.6 like this. So here let's give it a size int. So we're gonna say size int. So we're gonna say none, comma, none. Then underneath here we're gonna say size. So here we're gonna put 80 display pixels by 80 display pixels. So it's just gonna be a square like this. Okay. So let's give this some padding. So what we're gonna do, right? We're just gonna create a box layout, right? Then we're gonna give it a padding of 1 display pixels. Then we're gonna add another box layout inside of it. That's when that's gonna be our logo. So we're trying to make sure that our logo stand out a little bit more from the background, right? So here padding is going to be 1 display pixels like this. So now let's give this some background color. So this is going to be canvas dot before. Then here is going to be color. Then RGBA. So let's make it E9. Okay, fine. RGBA hashtag E9 like this, right? So this is going to be a rounded rectangle. So we're just gonna have like curved edges. Okay, so here we're gonna say size going to be self.size. Then pause. It's going to be pause self.pause. Then radius is going to be, let's maintain 5,5,5,5 like this. Okay. Then inside here, right? I'm just gonna copy this whole thing. Then I'm gonna type it inside, right? So now I'm not gonna need this position int and the size int also. So let's get rid of this. Let's up our padding here to, let's say, 4 display pixels. So we need to change this color here. So let's navigate to home.kv, right? Okay, where did we put our logo? This one, okay. So we're gonna put this one here. Then let's go back to home.kv. So this one said F1, okay. So we need to give this a excuse me. So let me just copy this here and paste it here. All right. So let's tab it inwards. So shift tab. Then this one is going to be F1 like this. So let's just get rid of the rounded part. Then get rid of this radius here like this. Okay. So now what we need to do is add our logo, right? So I'm just gonna copy this here. Paste it here. So let me shift tab this. Okay. So let's run this and see how this looks. Okay, this is looking good. Okay, let's go back to our text editor, right? Underneath this box layout here. So padding was 1 display pixels, yeah, it's 4. Okay, let's proceed. We might need okay, let's leave it like that. Okay, so underneath here, we're gonna put an image, right? So I'm gonna say image. Then we're gonna give this image a size int. So this is going to be size int none, comma, none like this. Then size is going to be, so let's put 40 display pixels by 40 display pixels. Like this, okay. Then we need to add the source, right? So here when I say assets / images / so let's open our assets folder, then navigate to images. So okay, loading underscore, okay, fine. So here we're gonna say dot like this. Okay, so let's give this some position int. So let me control C, control V here. Okay, so let's put this one at 20.2. Let's see, let's put it at 0.2 for now. Then underneath this, Let's put an MD label like this. Okay. So when I say size int y, when I set it to none, and the height, we're gonna set it to, let's say, 20 display pixels, right? So let's give this some text. So our text is going to be Marconi Technologies product. All rights reserved, like this. Okay. So if you have something better to put, just put it there. Just edit this whole statement out. Okay. So we're gonna say h align. So we're gonna align this to the center, right? Like this. Then our font style is going to be label. Then raw is going to be small, like this. Then color. Let's give it some color. Let's say hashtag 8D8A8C. Then positioning. So let me just copy this. Okay. So and then drag this downwards like this. Okay, so let's change this to 0.5. So this is going to be a 5% of the height going upwards. So let's rerun this. Okay, this is not looking too bad, but we might need to drop the load in GIF, right, so that it just goes a little bit lower. Okay, so let's switch this up to, let's say let's say 17. Okay, so now we need to navigate to splash.py. So where is it? Okay, splash.py here, right? Then we start working on our, what do you call it, on the Python side, right? So that our splash screen is going to be displayed for a few seconds. Then it's going to switch to either the auth screen or the home screen, right? Okay. So what we're going to do now is get rid of this statement here, right? So here we're going to say clock dot schedule once, like this, right? So inside when I say self, right? So the function, let's just call it switch screens. Switch underscore screens, like this, right? Comma, let's set it to 10 seconds. 10 seconds should be fine, right? So down here when I say define switch underscore screens, like this, right? So we're gonna take in self and dt, like this, right? So inside here, we need to have a try except block, right? So here when I say try, right? So what we can do here is, right, we can store our user sessions inside a JSON file, right? So here I'm gonna say session underscore file is equal to, so let's just call this session.json, like this. Then I'm gonna say with open, so we're gonna open our JSON file, right? Okay, so we're gonna read from it as file, like this, right? So we're gonna open it. Then here when I say session is equal to json.load, so we're gonna load the file. So let's import this clock here. Okay, so let's import JSON here. Import JSON, like this. and we need to import this clock here from Kivy.clock like this. Okay, so down here we're gonna say user ID like this, right? So user ID is equal to session dot get. So what are we getting? We're gonna get our user ID from our session file, right? So what we need to do, right? So after we've read our session.json file, right, we need to put an if statement so that if a certain criteria is met, we're gonna open the home screen. If a certain criteria is not met, we're gonna open the auth screen so that the user, there's the admin or is the teacher, student, parent, they're gonna be able to log in into the system, right? So here we're gonna say if user underscore ID is equal to, so let's say if it's equal to 0, we need to open the auth screen. But if it's not, which means there's a user in the system, right? That's already logged in. So let's say it's user 1, user ID 2, right? So if it's equal to 0, we need to open the auth screen, right? So here we're gonna say we need to import the MD app here, right? Then we're gonna say get running app like this, right? After that, we need to say what dot ideas. So here we're now fetching this here, this route here. So where is it? This main window here. So that after we've entered into this main window, we need to call the screen manager here. Then change from this screen here to either this one or this one, right? So let's go back to splash.py. root.ids dot screen manager. What did I name it here? Okay, Control D, Control C. Screen manager dot, this should be dot current is equal to, so here, right, if it needs to be auth screen like this, right? So let me Control C, Control V it. Then after this, right, we need to say else like this. Okay, so let me import this MD app. Okay. So this needs to be home screen like this. All right. Then after this, right, we need to put our accept. So accept file not found error. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna return none like this, right? So what we need to do is we need to create our session.json file. So underneath this main.py file here, so let me put it here. Session.json like this. Okay. So what we might need to do, right? We might need to add the user ID 1, then the username, right? So we're gonna need the user's name. So we're gonna check the ID, username, then user type, right? So let's put some curly braces here, right? So first we're gonna say user underscore ID like this. Then let's put a 0 at first because we need to work on the auth screen, right? Then comma username. So at first let's put Tanaka here, comma. So now we need to put user type, user underscore type. admin like this. Okay, so now let's rerun this and see if we don't get any errors. Okay, okay, nice. So now we need to work on our auth screen, right? So what we're gonna do here is we're not gonna add the registration part, right? So we're just gonna create a user, right? An admin user, right? So the admin is we're just gonna create a username. Let's just call it admin, then password admin, right? But then when you're inside the system, that's when you can add a teacher, parent, and student, right? So let's go back to our text editor. Get rid of this. Let's keep it for now. So now we need to open auth. Let's minimize this. Okay. So here we have auth, right? So let's open auth.kv. Then we need to design this first, then add the backend part, right? So inside the auth.kv, right? So we're gonna up this to, let's up it up to, let's just put it on display pixels, right? So let's open splash.kv. I'm gonna need this converse.before. Okay. Auth.kv, yeah, right here. Then I'm gonna paste this here. Shift tab twice. Then I'll change this to F1, F1, F1 like this, right? So now this needs to be padding, not spacing. Okay, like this. So inside this box layout, we're gonna add another box layout, right? So I'm gonna paste this one here. So let's get rid of this radius here and this rounded part here, like this. Then add some spacing here. So I'm gonna tape this inside like this. Then give this some padding of one display pixel, right? Then change this to E9, E9, E9 like this. So inside this box layout, we need to put two box layouts, right? So we're not gonna let's change this orientation. Let's get rid of this vertical part. And in this main box layout here, we're not gonna need an orientation, right? So inside here, let me just copy this. Then I'll paste it twice, right? Then let's tab these two inside. So we're just gonna press tab here, right? On top here, I'm gonna put a comment. So this is going to be inputs of this. Okay. So let me just press enter here and create some space here. So we need to get rid of this padding here. So let's put this one at let me just comment it out like this. Right. So we need to change this one to 0096C7 like this. Okay. And this one needs to be white. So I'm just gonna put FF like this, 6 Fs here. And let me comment this out again. Okay, so this one, right? We need the okay. So let's run this out. I need to check something out first. Okay, so we need to reduce the number our splice screen that's gonna be displayed, right? Okay. So what we're gonna do here is we need to make this one, this radius here 0, right? So that it's gonna be rounded at the edges here and here at the bottom, but at the center here it's just gonna be like a seamless integration, right? Okay. So what I'm gonna do, right? So this first 5 here is the upper left corner, right? So this one here needs to be, maybe control D. So these middle ones here are going to be 0, and this one is going to be 0, and this one is going to be 0 here, like this. So if we run this, let's open skyscreen.py, right? So this one here, let's put it at 1. Okay, so now let's rerun this. Okay, now this is looking much better. So what we're gonna do is, on this left side we're gonna put a logo, right? Then some text here and some text at the bottom. Then on the right we're gonna put our text inputs and the logo and the button, right? So let's get to it. Okay, let's get rid of splash here and this one also. So we're gonna need let's put home next to the init.py file here. Okay, so let's open out.kv. So now what we need to do is we need to give this some spacing. Let's set something. Let's set our spacing to 40 display pixels, right? Like this. What else? What might we need? Um, let's put this at 53 display pixels and see how this looks. Okay. So inside this box layout, right? We need to add a label in here, right? Eh, let's put a logo first. Right. So what I'm gonna do here, right? Let me just go to 1.kv and copy this whole thing here. Then paste it here. All right. So size index, I'm gonna set it to, let's maintain the same size we put in our splice fillet. So let's say um let's say 80 display pixels by 80 display pixels, like this. This needs to be size. So you're gonna none comma none. Then let's get rid of this X here, like this. Right. So we're not gonna need any color here. We might as well just put the source inside this that this box layout here. So let's try that out, and if it looks okay, we're gonna keep it. Then okay, so let's just comment this out first, like this. Then we will run this. Okay. Um. Okay, fine. So let's control Z this. Let's keep this down here, right? Okay, let's rerun this. Okay, so now our logo is visible, right? So now we need to add 2 labels, right? Then this logo is going to be pushed upwards, right? Okay, fine. Let's go back to PyCharm, right? So underneath this box layout, right? We need to add an MD label, like this. Then we're gonna give this some size in Y of none, and a height of let's say 35 display pixels, like this, right? Here we need to give this some text. So here we're just gonna say learning management software, like this. Okay, so going to be title like this. Then raw is going to be, let's say, large. Bold, I'm gonna set it to true like this. Then color, so this needs to be white so that it can be visible. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this and paste it 2 more times, right? So the one at the bottom, right, let's set it to 20 display pixels, right? We're gonna set it to 20 display pixels, right? Then the text here, let's say Makuni Technologies product. So this needs to be a capital letter M. Okay. Or rights reserved like this. Okay. So the font style needs to be a label, right? Then raw needs to be small. Yeah. And we need to get rid of this boldness here. So bold is going to be false. I believe this is okay. So down here, right, we don't need to add some height here. So let's get rid of this. Then the text, right? So right here, I'm just gonna press some lorem ipsum. Okay. Okay. Control S. So let's rerun this and see how this looks. Okay, so we need to change the orientation to vertical. Then get rid of this bold text here. Okay, so bold yes needs to be false. This needs to be label. Raw needs to be, let's make it medium like this. Okay, so this needs to have some orientation of vertical, right? So orientation, I'm gonna set it to vertical like this. Okay, so let's rerun this. Okay, this is looking much better. So we might need to reduce the size of our lorem ipsum text, right? And we can then align this to the center. Okay, so let's just leave this just like that. Then here we're gonna say, let me put it underneath here. So h align is going to be center like this, right? So now what we need to do is start working on the other side of the screen, right? Okay. So here, right, we need to change this to a let's make it a float layout. Right. Let's get rid of this here. So inside this float layout, right, we need to put a box layout. So here we're gonna say, let me get rid of this spacing here. Then create lots of spacing here. Okay. Now this is much better. So here we need to put a box layout. Right. So we need to give this box layout some orientation of vertical. Then size int is going to be none, none. Then size. So our size is going to be, let's say, 350 display pixels by 370. Let's try that out. So this is going to be let's just say 350 by 350 display pixels. Then if we need to add something, we're just gonna do it. So this is going to be 350 display pixels also. Then we're gonna give this some padding, right? Excuse me. So the left and right padding, we're gonna set it to 10 display pixels, right? Then our top and bottom display pixels, our padding, when I set it to 40 display pixels. So let's close this. Then spacing. So we're using 10, but for the login screen, let's put 20 here. So this is going to be 20 display pixels. Then we need to give this some position hint, right? Curly braces. So center Y, you're just gonna set it at the center. So center, let's start with center X. Center X, we're gonna set it to 0.5. So that's at the center going horizontally. Then we need to put center Y. Then set it to 0.5. So that's at the middle going vertically. Alright, like this. Okay. So what we need to do now is okay, anchor layout like this. Okay, so let's give this size int y. So when I say size int underscore y, so when I set this to none, then our height, right? So Anna, let's give it some height of 40. 40 display pixels should be fine. Okay, so 40 display pixels, but if it's too small, we just want to increase it. Then we need to say anchor X. So this is going to position what we're gonna put as our anchor layout. So if we put it at the left side, everything is gonna be positioned at the left side. So we're gonna put it at the center, right? So that our logo, right, is gonna be at the center. So here, let's just say center. Then inside here, right, let's open our home.kv, and we're just gonna copy this here, right, and paste it here. So set this to 40. We might need to reduce the padding here to, let's start with 2 and see how this looks, right? Then underneath this, right, we need to put a label. So MD label, let's give it some text. So our text is going to be enter your credentials to sign in, like this. Okay, so when I align this to the center, so H align center like this. Then font style is going to be label, right? And our row is going to be small, like this. Then should I give this some size in text? So let's give it some size in text here. So I'm gonna copy this one here, then paste it here like this. Okay, underneath this one we need to put a box layout, right? So we're not gonna give this any size int because it's supposed to take up the rest of the space that we're gonna have underneath our label, right? So just gonna give this some orientation of vertical and some spacing, right? So let's set our spacing to 10 display pixels. So now let's run this and see how our logo looks. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Um, work on adding our text inputs, right? Okay. So down here, let's um let's maintain the same text inputs we were adding inside our models, right? So let's navigate to our widgets folder, then models.py, right? So now let's look for text inputs. Okay. Hold shift. Now we don't need this one, but we can edit this one, right? So let's go back to auth.kv and paste this one here. Okay. So our height, okay, let's go back to models reply. So we're maintaining which height? 35 display pixels. So let's copy this, right? Paste it here. Okay, so we don't need this, right? So this one here, right? We need to shift tab it, get rid of this and this. Okay. So the width, we don't need to use this one. So the label width was 65 display pixels. Okay. So this needs to be 65. This needs to be X, and this needs to be width like this, right? So this one needs to be username. In text is going to be let's just say username dot dot like this. Then multi-line, you need to set it to false. Excuse me. So this needs to be false like this, and this needs to be username like this, right? Then let's go back to models.py. So let's control F and look for password, right? Password. So we need to copy this here and open auth.py, right? So I'm just gonna paste it here for now. Then I'm gonna work on it a little bit later. Let's go back to models.py. Okay. So I'm gonna copy this up to here. Let me just copy the whole thing. Alright, and paste it underneath here. So I need to paste it one time, right? So here we put 65, but here we're using 60. So let's just put 60 here. And then password, excuse me. So now we're gonna need a label, and okay, so we're gonna take this here like this, Control C, go back to auth, then paste it down here. So we need to tape this one time like this. Okay. Get rid of this ID here. We're not gonna need it here. So this one is going to be sign in like this, right? And this one here is going to be sign underscore in. So let's create this function inside the auth.py, right? So let's put it up here. Then for now, we're just gonna say pause, right? So let's run this and see how this looks. Oh, true. So we need to change the in text. Okay, so this is working just fine. Okay. So right here, we just need to say user's password. Like this. Yeah, this should be fine. Okay, okay. So now we need to work on our signing in function. So inside the signing function, right, we're gonna need our username. So username is going to be self.ids.username.text like this, right? Then we're gonna need our password. And our password is going to be self.ids.password.text like this, right? So right here we're gonna say if username is equal to empty or password is equal to empty, right? So you're gonna say self.ids.header.text is equal to fill-in or required fields like this, right? So Control C, Control V this, and this one here is going to be color, and this needs to be red like this, okay? Then here when I say else, right? For now let's just say pause, right? So in this episode, right, we're not gonna put too much text validation. We're just gonna keep it simple. But if you wanna add some extra layer of form validation, it's up to you. You can do it. You can expand this in so many ways, right? So let's proceed. Okay, so we have our Docker desktop running, right? So what we're gonna do is just gonna navigate to images, then run this, right? So optional settings, right? So let me just say 5432 like this, right? So our container name, I'm just gonna call it LMS like this. So we need to add so let me just say um Postgres underscore user. So I'm just gonna call this m tech like this. Then add another one. So here when I say pg db, so I'm gonna call this LMS like this. Then pg underscore password like this. So here I'm just gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and tag like this. Let me just take a quick screenshot so I don't forget this, right? Let me just put Postgres here. Like this. Right, so let me just copy everything here. This needs to be an O. Okay, so let's see. I believe everything is fine. So let me just run this. Okay, okay, okay. Right. LMS. So this is running, right? Okay. So now let's go back to our text editor, then proceed with the code. So in your text editor, right? We're just gonna find at the bottom, right? I'm just gonna put this file inside our template folder, right? So I'll leave the link in the description. So if you open this X.py file, right, you're just gonna see this one here, right? So after setting up your Docker, right, I've set this up the way I was setting up Docker in my PC, right? But in the template folder, all this is just gonna be empty, right? So just gonna have to fill out the password, username, and database name that you're gonna put inside your Docker container, right? Then run this. So what this is gonna do is just gonna create our database for us, right? So what we're gonna do now is I've already run this, so I'm not gonna run it again. So I'm gonna close this. Then proceed with creating our database, right? Not creating our database, sorry, with logging in our user. Okay, so yeah, right. I'm just gonna get rid of this parse here, right? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say user types here, like this. So earlier I was working on a function, right? That I'll just make sure I'll check the students, teachers, and parents tables all at the same time, right? Then look for this whole username and password at the same time, right? Because what I was trying to avoid is having to add, let's say, a spinner on the on our auth.kv file, right? So that we have to select, let's say, um user type. Then if it's not in this user type, we have to select the spinner and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna do it all in the same function, right? So here I'm gonna say user types. Then user types is equal to, let's create a list here. So the first one is going to be students. Then the second one is going to be teachers. And the third one is going to be parents. Like this. Okay. So after creating this, right? Um excuse me. So here I'm just gonna say con, then set it to none. Like this. Then I'm gonna create a try and accept here. Let me just create a whole lot of space to work with. Okay, so here I'm gonna say try. Then our connection is going to be psychop G2, right? Um okay. So I need to import this. Okay. So here I'm gonna say connect like this, open parentheses. So database name, right? I'm gonna say DB name is equal to LMS, comma, user is equal to mtech, comma. Then we're gonna need password. So we need to change this, right? Find a way to change this so that it doesn't clash with this password. But we can actually leave it like this, unless we say password is equal to password. So for now, let me just say password is equal to, we said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, capital letter M, I'm not mistaken, comma, then we're gonna say host. So host is going to be localhost. Nah, the password is not gonna be a problem. So let's leave it like this. Then port is going to be 5432, like this. Okay, so we need to add a comma here. All right. So now we have our connection, right? So now we need to create a cursor. So I'm gonna say cursor is equal to con dot cursor, like this. Okay. And now we need to create a for loop, right? So for user types, right? So we're gonna say, so we're gonna run through this list, right? So we're gonna have three. We're gonna run this for loop is gonna run 3 times, right? Because we have 3 items in our user types list, right? So we're gonna say for user type here and user types, like this. So what we're gonna say here, we need to say query is equal to, so what we need to do, like from cycle G2, we need to import SQL. So I need Control C and Control V this, right? SQL, like this. So from cycle G2 import SQL, like this. So here down in the backend query, right? So when I say query is equal to SQL dot capital letter SQL, then we need to write our SQL right here. So let me just put like this. Okay, down here when I say select ID and username, like this. From, let's put empty curly braces where username is equal to, so now we need to say %s, a placeholder, and password is equal to, like this, right? Down here we need to say dot format, and inside here we need to say SQL dot identifier, then we say user type in here, like this. Then down here we need to say cursor dot execute. So cursor dot execute, right? So it's gonna execute, Control Z, it's gonna execute our query, right? Comma, then we add a tuple here. So this is going to be username and password, like this. So our result, we need to get our result, right? So result is going to be cursor dot fetch one, like this. Okay, so now we put parentheses here. So if result, so if result is equal to true, right? When I say user underscore data is equal to, we're gonna open curly braces and to get rid of this, like this. Okay, so when I say user underscore ID is equal to result at index 0, like this. comma. So I'm gonna copy this and paste it 2 more times. So this user ID needs to be in quotes, right? And this needs to be changed. Let's put this inside quotes and this also. So the second user ID, we're gonna change it to username like this. And this needs to be at index 1. Okay. Then this is going to be user type like this. And this needs to be at index -1. Okay, so let's do this and say user type like this, right? And this we're gonna say -1 dot capitalize like this, right? And we get rid of this comma here. So now, right, we're gonna say cursor the pros. And this is going to be connection.close like this, right? So what we're gonna do now is we just need to send this data right here to our to this session.json here, right? So we're gonna send this data to this one here. So let's go back to on.py. So here we're gonna say okay, let's leave it for now, right? And let's just put this except here. Then we're gonna come back to fix this. All right. Let's just say if connection, we're gonna say connection.close here, right? So should we create a pop-up and add a pop-up? But nah, it's not necessary, right? So now we need to pass in this user data to our session.json. Okay, so here, right, I'm gonna say with open. So let's put parentheses here. So right on top of this open function, right? So we're gonna say session underscore file like this is equal to session.json like this. So inside here, we're gonna put a session file here like this, right? As file like this, right? Inside here, we need to put a comma, then a W, since we're gonna write information to this session.json, right? And now, right, we're gonna say JSON dot dump. So we're gonna put this here, then we're gonna say, excuse me. So we're gonna dump user data like this and file here. So we're gonna dump this user data to our file, right? So we need to import this JSON. Okay, so we already imported it, but okay, it's fine. After this, right? let's go to what did we name it? Splash. Okay, where is it? Okay, yeah, it is splash to pi, right? So I'm just gonna copy this, and then paste it here like this, right? So this one here, I need to shift tab it, get rid of this, right? Then when I shift tab this twice, ah, only once is fine, right? And here, right, we need to get these two here and paste them here. So this is going to be invalid credentials like this, right? And we need to import this, right? And this needs to be home screen like this. So now I'm just gonna run this app, right, and see if we don't get any errors or something. So if we get any errors, then we're just gonna fix them. Okay, so let me just put some dummy stuff in here. Then press sign in. Okay, invalid credentials. So we don't have this information inside our database, right? Because we just created it. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna navigate to the home screen using using the code, right? Then we're gonna add teachers or students and a few of the other things in there. Then we're gonna come back later and test this login system. So for now, we're just gonna go back to our text editor and start working on other screens. Okay. So for now, we can close. Let's just keep it here. Let's close auth. Let's get rid of this home.kv. Okay. Okay, so let's open now we need home.py, right? So where is home? Yeah, so we need home.py, right? So yeah, this needs to be our username and our avatar. We're gonna deal with the avatars later, right? So yeah, we're gonna need Control C. Let me paste this, right? So this is going to be user underscore type, right? Uh, then do we need a user ID inside I don't think we're gonna need our user ID inside here. But anyways, let me get rid of this, right? And here I'm gonna say self dot get user ID. Let me just call it get user ID like this, right? So Control D, Control C. Okay, define get user ID self, right? So inside here, okay. So in here, I'm gonna say session underscore file is equal to session.json like this, right? Then with open, it should be in lower caps. Okay, open, then open parentheses, session file. Then I need to put an R here, right? As file like this. Then when I say session is equal to JSON dot load. So we're gonna load our file here. Then we self dot user, right, is equal to session dot get. So we're gonna get our username here like this. Okay, so let me control C and paste it one more time. Right. So this is going to be user type like this. So here we need to say underscore user type like this, right? So we're not gonna need a username, right? So here we're gonna say except file not found error like this. So we're just gonna return none here, right? So let's go to our init.py file, right? So we're just gonna comment these two. So we're gonna only be left with the home screen, right? So let's rerun this. Okay, so now we have Tanaka here, right? Okay, so let's open our session.json. So username is Tanaka, user type is admin. So now we need to create a function where if the user type is an admin, right? We're just gonna be directed to the dashboard screen is gonna display the admin the dashboard screen. If the user is a teacher or student or parent, is gonna be display the type of the user type, right? So what we're gonna do now is if we go back to our home.kv, right? We're gonna try and put a if statement here, right? I'm gonna try and put an if statement here. Then this if statement is gonna, so if the user type is an admin, right? The on state is gonna display the dashboard screen. If the teacher is gonna display the teacher profile screen and so forth. So I was thinking of putting it in here as this if statement, right? But I just thought of another way. It might work and it will leave our KV file a lot cleaner, right? So let's navigate back to home.py, right? And create, I don't need this avatar here. Just gonna create, I'm just gonna call it dash spring, right? And this is going to be a string property like this. So we need to empty this one here. Right. Okay. So just gonna leave it like this. So let me control D and control C this, then navigate back to home.kv. So this one here is going to be root dot dash square like this. Then I'm back in our home.py file, right? What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add an on, let's call it on user type functionality, right? So here I'm gonna say define on user underscore type, then it's gonna take in self comma instance, then user type like this, right? So now I'm gonna say if user type is equal to, let's open session.json. So user type is admin, right? Okay, let me copy this Yeah, I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, get rid of this. Right. So if user type is equal to admin, right? Self dot call it dash screen. Okay, dash screen is equal to what did you call it? I believe the admin one we called it dashboard screen, if I'm not mistaken. Dashboard underscore screen like this, right? So I'm just gonna copy this and paste it 2 more times, right? So this one here is going to be elif. So now if this is equal to parents, right? And this is equal to teachers, right? So let's go to one.kv and let's scroll downwards where we have our screens here. Okay, let me copy this teacher profile screen. So where do we have teachers here? So when you paste this here, then parents, parent profile screen. Okay, hold it here. Okay, so now we're gonna say else, right? So let me copy this, Control C, Control V, home.kb. So this one is what that's what we used. So when I student here, Control V like this, right? So let me just run this and see if this worked, right? Because I was just experimenting there. I hope it works. Okay, so we have an admin, right? So it was an admin. So let me change it. It's open session.json. So this is going to be um teachers like this. So let's run it. Okay. Let me do this. Yeah. And press this again. Okay, so now this worked, right? So now we just have to make sure that whenever we open, right, it defaults to the to the screen that we gonna assign to this button, right? So let's go back to our text editor, right? And open home.kv. So right here, right? We need to find a way to set this as soon as we run this. So because if you open home.kv file, right, these screens are displayed in this order, right? Yeah. So first one is going to be dashboard, teacher profile, student profile, parent profile, right? So now what I'm gonna do is make sure that I'm gonna put this function here. Then okay, I just found a way to do it. Okay, fine. So let me copy this, right? So we might not need to copy this, right? So I'm thinking of something. Let me Control C and Control V this. Then do the same here. Right. So now let's navigate to home.kv, right? So we need this screen manager here. So let me Control C this. Down here I'm gonna say ideas dot home screen manager dot current like this. Excuse me. Right. Then do the same here. and here and here. So now let's run this. Okay. So let me try something, right? Here I'm gonna say clock dot dot schedule once, right? So here let me say get underscore user underscore ID like this, right? So we need to add self at the start here. Then here I'm gonna say comma 0.1 like this. So let's import this clock here from Kivy.clock like this. So let's get rid of this. Then inside here, right, just gonna say comma dt like this. So let's rerun this. Okay, so now we're gonna start having the screen that we want displayed, right? So if we go to teachers here and if we go back to here, right, everything is gonna be working just fine, right? So what I'm gonna do now is just gonna start linking these things, right? But if you wanna get the teacher profile, right, using the user ID and all the other stuff, right? So we need to add teachers, then students and parents here, right? Then we're gonna need to be able to read these and these here. All right. Okay, so let's go back to PyCharm. Okay, so let's close auth.py. Right. Home.kv. We're not gonna need it now for now. So let's leave home.py. Let's get rid of session.json. Then let's navigate to hmm, let's start with teachers, or let's start with students, right? So let's open students.py here. Now that we've got our students.py open, right? Let's just run the app. I will just want to check something real quick. Okay, so if we open students, right, then press add, right? So let me just maximize this. Okay, so we're gonna need a grade, right? And we're gonna need a class. So what we can do is we can first create classes, right? So grade, we're just gonna leave some dummy information here. And if you created the grade in the previous video, right, we're just gonna what we're gonna do for classes is the same thing we're gonna do for grades. So we're just gonna fetch the classes, then we're gonna add them to this class here, to this drop down here. So if you had created the grades, you're just gonna do the same for here. But if you didn't, you can just leave this dummy data in here, right? So before we work on students, right, we're gonna need our classes. So let's create classes. Then after we've created classes, then we're just gonna come back to adding students here, right? Okay, so let me minimize this, right? So let's navigate to our classes folder. Then we're gonna open classes.py, right? Okay. Let's scroll upwards. So let's open home.py, right? And we're gonna copy this function. So let me just copy everything here up to here. Go back to classes.py. Then okay, so we have run essentials folder here. So let me just paste everything inside here, right? So I'm gonna get rid of this, put parentheses here. Okay, then I'm gonna get rid of this. So we need to import JSON here, like this. Okay, so in here, right, let's look at let's open x.py, right? So here, right, here's our classes, right? So we don't have a user ID, right? Okay, I don't know how I forgot to put this, but it's fine. So let's just work with this. But we're supposed to have a user ID, right? But it's fine. So now we need to fetch these classes, right? Okay, so let's go back to classes.py, right? So inside our show classes, right? We need to import this information, and it's supposed to come from our database, right? So what I'm gonna do here is let me get rid of uh okay, let's put some space here. Let's just open what's the first one we did? So let's look at auth, right? Because I just want to copy this information here, so we don't have to type everything up, and we just speed up things, and we don't have to make this video unnecessarily long. So I'm just gonna paste this here. So let's import this. Okay, so now that we have this, right, so here I'm gonna say cursor dot execute, and inside here we need to open quote, then we're gonna say select or from classes, like this. Then here I'm gonna say classes is equal to, it should be cursor.fetch all here, like this. So now, right, we no longer need this here, so let me close this. So now we need to say cursor dot close here and con dot close. So we're gonna close the connection, right? So the class ID, right? Oh, excuse me. Let's open x.py. So if you open classes, right? So ID is at index 1, 0, then class 2. Okay. So this here, let's just say string x, string of x at index 0, right? So I'm just gonna copy this. Then I'm gonna replace this here. Then make this at index 1. Then this is going to be at index 2. Three, and this is going to be 4, like this. So let's try and run this and see if we don't get any errors. Okay, let's open where do we have classes here. Okay, so since our database doesn't have anything, right, we're not gonna get any information here. But since we didn't get any errors, This should be fine for now. So now let's work on adding, right? So let's work on adding this class here, class name, grade, capacity, and supervisor. All right. So let's minimize this. Okay, where do we have add class? Okay, so we're gonna do it down here, right? So here underneath this add class callback, right? Need to take the database connection. Where do we have it? Here, right? So I'm gonna copy this, then scroll downwards. So I'm gonna paste it here, and under update class callback, I'm gonna paste it also. Then under delete part, this should be class. Obviously, I paste this. Control D. Like this. Okay. So now let's go back to add class callback. All right. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna say under cursor.fetch all, right? I'm gonna say cursor.execute like this. Then open quotes. Then inside here, I'm gonna say insert into classes, right? Then brackets. So the first I'm gonna put it in class, right? Then we're gonna have grade, capacity, and supervisor like this, right? Then here we're gonna say values. So inside here we're just gonna put the percentage s, then another one. So we have a 1 2 3 4. We need 4 of these like this, okay? So now we need con.execute and con.commit. So okay, here, right, we're gonna say is equal to, so we're gonna fetch all of this, Control X, then paste it here. Then here we're gonna say values like this, right? So the first value is going to be classes, right? Then the second one is going to be grade. Then this is going to be capacity, and this is going to be supervisor, like this. So now inside our case.execute, we're gonna put SQL like this, then values like this, right? So now we're gonna say con dot commit, right? And this is going to be clause, and this is going to be clause also, and this is going to be cursor like this. So what we need to do now is we need to, whenever we are done adding our class, right, we need to call this function here. We need to call show classes, right? So I'm gonna copy this line here, then I'm gonna paste it here. So let's run this and test this out. Okay, so classes, right? Add, so class name, let's just say a grade for capacity, let's say 35, supervisor, let's say John, just for testing purposes. So add class, yes, okay. So adding and fetching is working properly, right? So now let's work on updating our classes, right? So let me get rid of this empty space here. So I'm gonna copy this here, then paste it under. Okay, so we already did this. Okay, it's fine. Like this. So now we need to update this line now, right? And here we need to put an ID like this. Okay, so let's get rid of this, right? So here we need to say equal then percentage s here, right? Then here we're gonna say where ID is equal to percentage s like this. Oh, excuse me. This needs to be lowercase s, right? Okay. So I'm gonna copy this, then paste it here, here, and here, right? So here we need to say set. So and we need to get rid of insert into, then we're gonna put update like this, right? So this should be fine. So let's rerun this. Okay. Open classes. So let's change the supervisor. Let's say James. Okay. So adding and updating classes is working, right? So now let's work on deleting. Then everything else is gonna be much simpler from now on. Okay. So now let's go back to our text editor, right? Then work on deleting. Right. So here I'm gonna say SQL is equal to delete from classes where ID is equal to percentage s like this. Then values. So values, we're just gonna put ID here. Excuse me. Then I'm gonna copy this and paste it down here. So we're also gonna need this one here. Like this. So now let's run this and see if this is working properly. Okay. Classes, delete class. Okay. We have an error here. Delete from classes where ID, right? So it seems as if for type integer. So this should be percentage. Okay, so let me drop this. What I'm gonna do for now, right? I'm just gonna comment this out. Then print the ID here. All right. Unless but this should be returning an ID. Okay, let me just run this again. Classes. So let me just pull this one up here. where do we have, okay, here it is, classes. So inside here we got an empty string, right? Oh, okay. So let's try something else, right? Let's scroll upwards first. So here we managed to get our ID just fine, right? When we were updating. Um, wait. I think I know what the issue is. So when we're trying to see if we were getting the ID right, we weren't getting anything, right? So let me just control Z this like this. Okay. Then let's navigate to a widgets folder, then open tables.py, right? So this is create notice tab, right? What's this one? This one is a subject tab. Okay, so let's use this one, right? This here it's root dot delete callback self, right? But we need this to be, we need to pass in root inside this delete callback, right? So let me just control D and fix all the delete callbacks, right? Get rid of self. Then inside here I'm gonna say root like this. So this should fix our delete functionality. Okay. So where's our classes here? Right. So now let's try deleting. Okay. So now deleting our classes works, right? So now let's add some classes. So here let's put 7. Okay. Let's put 1. So class, let's put a capacity. Last one was 35. Supervisor. So now let's put Jane. Then we're gonna add this. Then let's add another one. Class name is going to be P. Grade, let's put 2. 40. Supervisor, let's put Smith. Okay. So now, right, let's just work on subjects and notices. Then we're gonna go back to the parents, teachers, and students, right? So now let's go and work on subjects. Okay. Minimize this. Close this. Now let's open subjects. Let's get rid of students for now and create some space for us. Let's get rid of these two. So where do we have subjects? Okay, here. Subjects dot py like this. Okay, so let's copy this. Then paste it here. Need to copy this cursor and this con like this. So let's import this cycle pg2. Then this needs to be subjects. Now we need to make this lowercase like this. Okay. This is fine. So this needs to be show subjects like this. Okay, let's open update subjects callback. So we're gonna copy everything from here to here. All right. Then we're gonna paste it here. So here we have subject and teacher, right? This needs to be subjects like this. So let's open x.py and look for subjects. Okay. So in here we have subject name and teacher. So we have subject and teacher, right? So this needs to be subject name, and this needs to be teacher. So let's get rid of capacity and supervisor. So let's get rid of this also. So this is going to be subject and this is going to be teacher, like this. Okay, so let's open classes again. Then we're gonna copy this from here to here. Then go back to subjects.py. Then we're gonna paste here under our add subject callback, right? So we're gonna get rid of these two here. Then supervisor and capacity needs to go, and we're gonna remove it here also. And this needs to be subjects, and this is going to be subject name, and this is going to be teacher. Subject teacher, like this. And this needs to be show subjects, like this, right? We need to also fix the fetching part, right? So let's go back to classes.py. Then I'm just gonna copy everything from here to here. So let's just replace this line here like this, and this needs to be subjects, right? And this needs to be subjects also, and this needs to be, let's say, string parentheses x index 0, like this. So I'm just gonna copy this, then paste it here, and this is going to be 1. Then this is going to be 2, like this. So our subjects should be working perfectly. So let's run this and add, update, then delete something. Okay, subjects. So add subject name, let's say Python. Teacher, let's say John. So let's add. Okay, this works. Let's change the teacher to Jane. Okay, what seems to be the problem now? Let's scroll downwards. This is add, update subject, set subject name. Okay, so this needs to be show subjects, not show classes, right? So which means our function worked correctly, but it couldn't update the information on the screen, right? So let's rerun this. Okay, so subjects. Okay, so now our Jane. So let's add something, right? So subjects, let's say Django. Then the teacher is going to be Smitty. Then add, right? So let's add our subject. Let's say KivyMD. Then the teacher is going to be Smith. Then let's add, right? So now let's try and delete this one in the middle, right? And check if our delete functionality is working properly. Okay, so this is working properly, right? So now let's go and work on notices. Then after working on notices, we just gonna start working on these three, then work on the profiles. Or we might just do one once. We're gonna do students, then we're gonna do the dashboard, a little bit of the dashboard, then one profile. Okay, so now let's work on notices, right? So now let's get rid of subjects.py, right? Let's open notices, right? Here. So classes, let me copy this, okay, and replace this like this. So import this. Okay, so let's look at x.py, right? So here we have notices. So in this table we have subject of the notice, announcement, and date. But in our system we don't have this, so we're just gonna work with these two, right? So let's go back to notices.py. So here, right, let me control D this and control C, paste it here and here, like this, right? So this here is going to be a string, then open parentheses, inside we're gonna say x at index 0, right? So this is going to be our ID. So let me copy this, then paste it here, then we're gonna paste this here. So let's go back to x.py, right? So our date is at index 3. So because this is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So our date is at index 3. And our announcement is at index 2, right? Like this. Okay. Now let's work on adding our notices, right? So let's open classes.py, then navigate to add class callback, right? So I'm just gonna copy everything from here up to here, then open notices.py and paste everything here. So this needs to be show notices like this. Insert into notices, right? So what we're gonna do here is let's look at x.py. So we have announcement and date. So insert into announcement and date. So let's get rid of these other two here. Then get rid of these two here. Then get rid of these two here. So now we have announcement is going to be the first one, right? And date is going to be the second one, like this, right? So now we should be able to end our notices, right? Excuse me. So let's go back to classes.py. Then we're gonna copy the update functionality. Okay, so let's paste it here. So now we need to say update notices, set announcement here, like this. Then we're gonna get rid of everything else like this. So this one is going to be announcement, and this is going to be date. But we shouldn't be able to add and update the date, right? Because if you look at this, right, the date is just gonna be the current timestamp, right? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna comment the date part out, right? But or what we can do is we can not update the date, or whenever we add something, we're not gonna do it. But then whenever you're expanding on the system, right, you're just gonna fix it, because with everything we're doing, you're quite able to fix this. So let's go back to notices.py, right? So now let's get rid of date here. We don't need to do anything with it. So we're just gonna leave announcement and ID, right? Same with year. So let me just remove this and this, right? Okay, and let's get rid of date here. So even if we add the date in our what's called in our model, right, it's not gonna be of any effect, right? So we just remove the part out. So now, right, we're just gonna be okay. We need to add a comma here. So this needs to be show notices like this. So now let's work on deleting our notices. So let's copy everything and paste it here. All right. So this needs to be notices. We need to put a T here. Okay. And this needs to be show notices like this. This should work. So let's run this. Okay, so here's our notices, right? Okay, so let's add something, right? Okay, so let's select the date here. So let's just select this one. Announcement. You just enter some random stuff here and add. Okay. Failing row contains now. Okay. Subject. Right. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna put some dummy information inside our code, right? So where is the add product? Okay, here, right? For the second one, let's open x.py, right? So the subject, Control D, Control C. Let's go back to notices.py. Minimize this. Paste it here like this. Okay. Paste it here. So I'm just gonna edit here. So I'm just gonna put ASD inside here. So let's run this again. Okay, so let's open notices here. Then add. Okay, so now random information here. I'm still getting an error. Not all arguments converted during string formatting. Okay, so we need to add another one here, right? This should fix it. So let me minimize this and run the app again. Okay, so now let's open notices. I hope this time everything works now. So here I'm gonna press OK. Then add, right? Okay, so we've just added our announcement, right? So let's try updating it. So let's add another statement here. Update like this. So now let's try deleting it. Okay, so everything works, right? So now announcement. So this is going to be this is a test, right? Add and add another one. And this is going to be this is a test number 2. Then put an exclamation mark. Right, so now we have 2 notices, right? So what we need to do is need to navigate to our dashboard, right? Then make sure that our okay, so it's not inside here, but we can add it inside here also, right? Make sure everything pops up inside our we're using teachers, right? Okay, so before we work on this, right, let's just work on adding our teachers, right? So here, right, let's see what we're gonna need. Name, address, add image, add. So we're not gonna need any of the subjects and classes, right? So we can keep this one at bay for now. Let's open students. Okay, so inside here we're gonna need grade and class, right? Okay, so let's navigate to students. Okay, there it is. So let's get rid of notices here, right? And home.py, let's get rid of it now. Do we need this one? Let's close it here also. Okay, let's minimize this also. Okay, let's open classes.py, right? Control C, then students.py. Let's navigate to the bottom, then I'm gonna paste it here. So this one here is going to be students, like this, and this is going to be show students, like this. So we need to import this. Okay. Okay. So let's open classes.py, right? Then let's select the east one up to here. Go back to students.py and paste it underneath our update student callback. Right. So we need to change this to students like this. All right. Let's open x.py and where our students. Okay. So here is our students table, right? So I'm just gonna copy everything up to here and go back to students.py. So I'm gonna paste everything here. like this. All right. I'm gonna select this here, then Control D, get rid of it. Do the same here. Right. Okay. Then password, right? So I'm just gonna select this up to year like this, right? Let me add 2 calls here, then 2 more here, right? So now I need to, okay. So I'm gonna select this here, and then select this one, Control D, left arrow, then paste it like this, right? Okay, so it's no correct order, so it's fine. So now let's I'm feeling way too lazy to code here. Okay, so let me just select this whole block here and paste it inside here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select everything up until here, then Control D like this, get rid of it, put some space, then so now I'm gonna get rid of this and put a comma. So what I can do is select this, right? Then Control D like this, backspace. Okay, backspace one more time, then add a comma, right? Okay, so now let's get rid of this here. So now this is looking good, right? Okay, so if you have any errors, we're gonna fix them, right? Okay, so let's scroll up and working on add our students, right? So let's go back to classes.py, right? Then copy everything from here up until here, then go back to students.py. So I'm gonna paste this here. Did we change the function's name? So right, this needs to be show students like this. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna copy this, then scroll upwards and paste it up here like this, right? So I'm gonna put this one at the bottom, get rid of the one that was already here. Then we're gonna remove ID, right? So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna get rid of this line here like this, and this line here, right? Let me just get rid of the SQL also, right? Right, backspace, then a comma, right? So I'm just gonna do this, backspace, okay. So now what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna select this whole line here, Control X, then I'll paste it inside these brackets here, parentheses. Okay, this is now looking much better. So this needs to be students. Okay, this looks fine. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So let's say comma, then percentage S. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So when I need another one like this, this should work. Okay, so let's proceed, right, and fetch our stuff here, fetch our students, right, and if there are any issues, right, we're just gonna get them and address them. Okay, so let's go back to classes.py, right? Where's our fetch? Okay, here we have select, right? Okay, fine. I'm gonna copy everything from here up until here, right? Then open students.py, then paste everything here. Control D this, Control C, Control D, Control V, like this, right? So this needs to be students, and this is going to be string, then X. Our ID is going to be at index 0. So I'm gonna select this, then replace this here, then replace this and this and this. Right. So our avatar, so let's put index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is going to be 10, like this. So okay, let's go back and check out our add function, right? So since we're gonna be having password, right, and we don't want our video to be unnecessarily long, right, we're not gonna do the password hashing and all the other stuff, right? So we're just gonna keep it simple. Okay, so let's run this and see where we messed up. Okay, so let's open students. Okay, this seems to be fine. So now we need to make sure that we fetch our classes right here. So we need to go to our models, then fetch our classes. Okay, so let's minimize this. Let's open classes like this. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this one here, Control C, then navigate to our widgets folder, open model.py. So which one is that? So let me Control F, then look for class model. Okay, here it is. So let me get rid of this. Okay, we need to look for it at the bottom. student model. This is parent model, student model, right? Okay, so I'm going to put this one. We need this file picker, so let me import this. Okay, select star from classes, right? So what we can do here is we can create a list variable, right? Then we're just gonna fetch all our classes, right? Then put them inside that list. Then we're gonna take that list and pass it on to our classes drop down, right? So here, right, I'm gonna say classes here. So let's get rid of this self here. Then here we're just gonna say classes dot append, right? So what we need here, we only gonna need classes here, right? So let's get rid of everything here and everything here. Alright, so we might not need this and might not need this also. So we're just gonna keep it like this. Um okay. Okay. So I'm thinking of another way of fetching our classes, right? Our class names. So I'm just gonna comment this out. Then down here, right, I'm gonna say a width like this, right? So I'm gonna need this. So here I'm gonna say as con, right? Then I'm gonna say with connection here, right? Dot cursor as cursor like this, right? I'm gonna say cursor dot execute like this. Then I say select all from classes, right? Then here I'm gonna say rows is equal to cursor dot fetch all. All right. Then here I'm gonna say classes is equal to, let's put square brackets here. Then I'm gonna say string open parentheses. Then I'm gonna say raw with index 1. Then here I'm gonna say for raw and rows like this. So we need to, let me control this, control say this. Then I'm gonna place it on top here. So this is going to be an empty list like this. Okay, so let me try and put this inside a try like this. Okay. Then down here let me shift tab. So I'm gonna say accept has E like this, then let's just return none like this. Okay, so let's call this. All right. Where is this thing now? Okay, fine. So here I'm gonna say clock dot schedule once, right? Self dot show classes point one like this. So let's import this. Kivy dot clock. Okay, let's try running this. Students. So select class. Okay. So we didn't try to send the information to our drop down here. Right? Okay. So I'll close this, minimize this. So inside here, right? What I'm gonna do is should I do it here? Self dot IDS dot. So what did we call our classes? On classes, right? So let me just copy this and paste it here. So this needs to be values like this. And we might not need this one, but anyways, let me just and let me table it one time. Okay, we run this. Okay, so now we have our classes. Now we have A and B, right? So let's try adding something, right? So here we're just gonna say John Doe, right? Then grade 3, class B, username. So this is a student. We need to change these teacher's email, teacher's phone number and stuff. So username, let's just say JD. Date of birth, email, random information, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, address, random information, teacher's password. This should be student's password. 1 2 3 4 5 ASD. So let's leave this one like this. Then press add. Right. Okay. So we've managed to add our information, right? Okay. So let's change the grade to 4. Then update. Okay. So update functionality is working okay. Then let's press delete. Okay. So our delete function is working properly, right? So all the other steps, right, for parents, teachers, and if you have created results and exams, right, everything is just the same. You're just gonna be repeating the same thing, right? So what I'm gonna do now is what we've done up to this stage, right? Excuse me. I'm gonna put it in the GitHub link. It's inside the video description, right? Then if you wanna expand this a little bit more, right? We're just gonna be copying what we did in the notices, subjects, classes, and students. Then you're just gonna do the rest of the screens, right? It's that simple. There isn't much to do to this system, right? So I'm gonna end this video right here. Then in about 3 or 4 days time, I'm gonna upload a new series. We're gonna be creating a personal real estate management system, right? This one is just gonna be simple. Might be able to finish it in less than 5 hours. So okay, stay tuned, like, subscribe, and share the video. Peace.